All right, so let me ask you guys a couple questions. So how many of us have been or know somebody who has been in debt before? All right. How many of us learn things like taxes, interest rates, principles? How many of us learned these things in high school? Okay. Now, how many of us feel that if we had some kind of financial education at a young age, like in high school, that we would have made better financial decisions growing up as young adults? Okay. So according to the website valuepenguin.com, there's an article called Average Credit Card Debt in America. They mentioned that the average credit card debt went from $5,048 to $7,697 in the last decade. What that means is that the average American today holds 52% more debt than they did 10 years ago. So what that means is, number one, the debt crisis in America is rising. It's not going anywhere. And two, some of us were in high school 10 years ago, graduated, went to school, and we accumulated a lot of debt. So my point is that if financial literacy was taught in high schools, wouldn't you guys feel that we would have managed ourselves better and exposing ourselves from, accumulating so much unnecessary and, debt that could have been prevented, right? You see, I like so many of you guys, I've been dealing with this problem in a big part of my adult life. I was never taught about it, had no education of it. All I was told was just don't mess up your credit, right? I never given any examples or any, kind of scenario on how I can. And so I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn by trial and error. And it's sad, but I had to accumulate a lot of debt in order for me to want to learn about, financial literacy and things like that, how to get myself out of this situation, and stuff like that. So basically, why do we care? Well, we should care because for us with kids and, in our younger generation, our families, they're going to face the same debt if we don't address this problem. And, so they're going to face the same debt, and they're probably going to have more debt than we have today. So the debt crisis in America is rising, but if financial literacy education was mandatory in our high schools as a graduation requirement, our children would be more equipped to manage and control their debt buildup and make better financial decisions in the future. Now, let's talk about this problem of debt. We all know what it is. I call it a disease, right? Anybody can get it. It does not discriminate. And if you don't monitor it correctly, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse for you. Now, the types of things that get us into debt, and the most popular one is loans. Loans, right? And the most popular one amongst Americans is student loans, right? So the ironic thing about it is that our high school students, it is said that 65.9% of high school graduates are going to enroll into college. What happens when they enroll into college? They're going to face student loans. And if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to put themselves in a bad situation. There's other loans too, mortgage loans, auto loans, all these things are important. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to build up a lot of credit, you're going to put yourself in a lot of debt. Now, other causes besides these things is also the cost of living. Now, in California, they just passed the bill not too long ago, $15 an hour, the minimum wage. Why they did that is because when the cost of living outpaces the income growth, debt increases. What that means is the $15 an hour, they're trying to force these companies to pay the people more so they won't struggle as much to try to live here in California. Now the main solution is making these financial education courses mandatory in our high school system. It's very, very important. From the book No Slack, The Financial Lives of Low-Income Americans by a man named Michael Barr, Barr states that financial education needs to be more firmly rooted in the ways in which individuals actually make financial decisions in particular contexts in the real world. So what these courses would do for our children is it will help them make better financial decisions, manage their credit better, and then if they ever put themselves in debt, it would give them the steps, teach them the steps on how to recover from that. And also more importantly, it would teach our children what financial slack is. Financial slack is basically three things: having good credit, having a bank account, and having insurance. Having these three things, if you're good with these three things and you lose your job, it wouldn't cost you as much as opposed to a person with low income. that person with no credit, no insurance, they're going to they can't afford to try to rebound from that, right? And the immediate action that we can do to make this happen is we can pressure our states through petitions and propositions, right? Other things we can do at immediate action would be those with kids, in high school, you can pressure the schools to have these courses taught for your children. And also, you can talk to your kids about basic, personal finance. People can argue that parents are not qualified, they themselves are in debt, but that's not true. If you have the experience and you've been in debt before, you can teach them what not to do. And I just wanted to share with you guys this website. It's Champlain College, based out of Burlington, Vermont, and they have a financial literacy department. And I just wanted to show you guys a little study that they've been doing. Right here. So this basically map shows that they did a study on financial literacy in the state, state by state in America. And what it does is it's graded from A to F, and A as being the states that are teaching this and incorporating these in their school systems, and then F being the ones that are not doing anything about it, right? So if you can click on it, and if you scroll down, it shows like California has a grade F, right? And it asks you, is a high school course with personal finance required to be taken as a graduation requirement? No. And then it explains everything of what needs to be for a high school graduate and California needs to take. And it's not financial literacy. Also, real quick, immediate action here in California that we can do to help address this issue is there's a flyer, and it's all the way in Sacramento, of a financial literacy fair that's going on. And it's very important that there's going to be legislators there. There's going to be they call it the financial literacy community, where they're trying to talk about the problem here in California. All right, and you can go there, address your issue, and learn on how to make this happen. All right, so I just hope you guys understand the seriousness of this, of debt, and in order for us to address this problem, we need to make these courses mandatory in our school systems. It begins there. Just want to leave you guys with a quote from presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. It says that the debt crisis in America is rising, but if financial literacy education was, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Okay, so Bernie Sanders, it is insane and counterproductive to the best interests of our country that hundreds of bright young people cannot afford to go to college, and that millions of others leave school with a mountain of debt that burdens them for decades. This must end. Thank you.